My name is Jaeden Martell. It takes place about halfway through the film. You see Kevin start off as his shy self. Eventually, he starts getting into it. We did a lot of stick breaking and stick throwing, and eventually I did. I broke a ton of sticks, and it was like felt very good. Mr. Harrigan's Phone is based off a Stephen King novella. A young boy who goes to work for this older one point where everything changes, where their dynamic changes, and that's when Greg gets him the iPhone. Just loving and communal is really amazing. Working with Donald Sutherland, everything he said was gold to me, and a bit of advice I'll carry with me forever. He's an incredible actor. I think the central theme of the movie is...
Well, thank you. No, it's real.
Okay.
I hope. It's real. I had no experience with the drums though, so I did practice a ton. Um, but some of the double bass stuff I can't necessarily do with my feet. But going into it, it was really I had to like change appendages and like you give them a mind of their own. So it was a really interesting experience getting into the drums. But now I'm in love with the instrument. I knew the bands, but I've only really scratched the surface. But this definitely allowed me to dig deep in the metal scene, and also to really like not only study the artists and not only how they played their instrument, but the culture of it all and the the energy that they have at all times. It's pretty admirable.
This was actually a very surprisingly quick process. John had emailed me and asked to meet up, and I was like, of course. And then after we met and I read the script, he was like, do you want to be a part of this? And I was like, of course. It was very simple. I was just honored. Well, actually, this is one of the oldest characters I've played because he goes from a freshman in high school to a freshman in college. So he's 18 by the end of the film. And I mean, I was drawn to the complexities of the character. I mean, he is at his core like a lot of other characters in the way that he's kind and loyal and cares about his family, and like he's but he's a little self-righteous at times and a little self-serving, and you know, he even says it in the film. He's like, I'm just trying to look out for myself, and he's very clear about that. And I love that about him because he's very real. um, and just he experiences a lot of loss in his life with his mother, and then he's close to his father. So it's just um his history builds up into, eventually it starts to bubble into anger, and he starts to take it out on other people towards the end of the film, and then but he grows, and I love that. Of course. I had always known who Stephen King was, and but never really read his books. I appreciated the movies adapted from his books, but since working not with him directly, but working on his projects, I've read his stuff, including his book on writing, which is phenomenal. Because he talks about his history and him growing up. Um, and he's obviously just a master at what he does. Yes. Donald is lovely. Donald is he for me at least, just I was very intimidated by him because he has this presence, he has this voice, and this energy about him that is unlike no one else. And obviously he's been doing this for so long, so a part of me wants to A, not annoy him, and B, impress him without trying to impress him, or just like, not make a fool of myself. So of course I was in my head. Um, and acting beside him was amazing because I was just in awe of him. And then eventually I learned that he's just the funniest, most like generous and kind human being. And he took a lot of time out to make me feel comfortable, and he gave me a lot of advice. Um, on the last day of filming, I was eating lunch, and one of the producers came over and said, Donald wants to see you in his trailer before he leaves. It was his last day. And I was like, of course, I got to run over there. So I ran over there, and he basically told me to, uh, fortunately, he told me to never stop acting, which is amazing. And he was like, go to college, study literature like I did. And then eventually he sent me lots of plays to study and go over. So that showed that he really cared. It was really special. Not necessarily, but it Cyrus, the actor who played uh Kenny Yankovic, is one of the sweetest people I know. Like he's like a puppy. He's lovely and also very, very talented. And we got along really well. And I mean, the physical aspect of it was a little hard. We are just working with stunt coordinators. Um, but the thing that I loved when I read the script is that it wasn't necessarily, I mean, he's a bully, but he's also just a very troubled person. It wasn't like a one-dimensional bully character, a jock or whatever. He's just someone who, I mean, Craig talks about it in the film. He's someone who just decided not to like him, and he's just drawn to violence and anger because he was raised a certain way. And then eventually Craig learns, oh, he's not just a bully, like he has a family too that uh misses him and loves him. So that's what I loved about it. That was three-dimensional. And it wasn't too hard to get into. I don't know what I can say. I don't know. And I never know. I'm so bad at that.